Hey guys, what's up? It is week 180, I believe, and just let you know, I was on the latest 22 Shots of Moods and Horror episode where we covered, it was the Halloween special. We covered three viewers' choice. It was The Barn, WNUF Halloween special, and Demonic Toys. We also covered The Graveyard Shift from 1990, which I'll cover in this video too because I love the movie so much. But yeah, I guess we're going to hop right into the reviews. And the first one is from Arrow Video, and this is Cold Light of Day by Fhiona-Louise. And this is one that I had seen the cover, glimpsed at it, just saw it in passing, and I was like, I'm not 100% sure what that film is on DVD and everything. And then when they announced it for Blu-ray, I was kind of intrigued, to be honest, because it was one movie that I had only seen in passing. It wasn't something that I was 100%, familiar with. And I always love when Arrow does that. And they had a couple this week releases that I actually wasn't too familiar with. But Cold Light of Day is totally up my alley on paper. It is a 16 millimeter serial killer film shot like in gritty, kind of feels like very do-it-yourself, very kind of guerrilla, but lots of long takes, long shots, and just sets up the whole atmosphere of the street. Pretty short too. It's actually based on the real life killings of Dennis Nielsen, who basically in lamest terms was Britain's answer to Jeffrey Dahmer. He was a homosexual serial killer who lured kind of homeless people or people addicted to drugs that were bad up on their luck, and he took advantage of them. But his character is kind of complex, as a lot of these serial killers are. So basically, we follow his story. That's pretty much the entire film. Like I said, this one has a lot of long shots, a lot of long takes of just him kind of wandering the streets. Like, I really want to compare this to something like equivalent to, some of the sleazier stuff from New York City in the 70s and 80s, but it's not necessarily that. But you do feel a grittiness to it, for sure. And it's definitely compared to Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Now, not quite as effective. And in the opening of the movie, they have this quote that says, based on true story, but not all truths, or something like that. And that's pretty much what it's going for. And that's, again, very similar to Henry, is that they knew basis of the story, but they didn't have all the facts, so it's not completely accurate. And I imagine that's the case here with Dennis Nielsen. But they do some things in here that are pretty grimy and pretty gross. It actually reminds me a little bit of this year's Golden Glove with, the bodies being hidden in the actual apartment. But if anybody knows about this case, which I had heard a couple things about it before and read a little bit about it, where Dennis Nielsen, how he got rid of the bodies is probably one of the most gnarly ways, because it's not a rural area. You're surrounded by people, and a city, you can't really go out there with those kind of things without being spotted, so you got to kind of do a certain thing with the bodies. But anyways, it's kind of a disturbing film. Not kind of, but it's fairly disturbing. It's not super graphic when it comes to a lot of the homosexual encounters, although they're more hinted at than actually shown, or the violence. So it's just kind of an unpleasant mood throughout, if that makes any sense. And although it only runs in an hour and 20 minutes, it literally feels like you're watching this thing for 2-3 days. The performance by the lead is it's pretty solid. I think he's creepy. I think he's unsettling. I think he has some complex. He puts a little bit into it where you can kind of feel that there is some complexities within his character. The movie opens up with him being interrogated by a police officer, and it kind of like Confessions of a Serial Killer, which is another Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer Henry Lee Lucas film, which is really good as well. So he's being interviewed, and it doesn't cut back to this particular structure of the story until it's in 30 minutes in, and it kind of goes back and forth to that more and more. But anyways, if you're into serial killer films, this is probably one that a lot of people have not seen. And like I said, it kind of captures a very gritty feeling to it. I think it's well worth checking out and looking into. Fairly solid performances. I like the low budget aspect to it and the guerrilla kind of filmmaking. You could tell it feels like there was not really much permits here or anything like that. And hearing the director talk, it seems like they ran into some problems screening it and all sorts of things like that. There's an interview with a couple of the victims on here, one of which who plays one of the major parts in the film. And again, let me just point out the complexities of Dennis Nielsen's character in this film. I think he goes by a different name in the movie, but there's times when he will help an old man that lives in the same kind of like, it's one of these like shared housing things, kind of like Good Luck Miss Wyckoff, which is more common back in the day. It's like a kind of a hotel, but just a big house where 4 people share the house anyways. But common housing, whatever. But he helps this old senile man at one point in the movie, but he's also a serial killer, and he's just like has that lonely aspect of Dahmer and stuff. Completely repulsive. I would say that I don't really sympathize with killers, and I know some people do. Some people sympathize with people like Jeffrey Dahmer or Ed Gein, and I would say that he is much less sympathetic than those two. Yeah. So, but anyways, it has some features like I said, commentary with the director, a kind of comparison to then and now locations, interview with like I said, the two kind of actors who are in it. Anyways, it's a fairly interesting movie. Lots of long takes. Even some of the murders are long takes, and I feel like, I would compare it to stuff like Confessions of a Serial Killer and The Golden Glove, although not as graphic as either of those probably. But that's The Cold Light of Day. So yeah.
Shall we begin?
What do you do? Now there's a question. What do you do? Have you ever thought how profound that question really is? What do you do?
You think that justifies what you did, you disgusting man? What gives you the right to go around killing people and using their bodies for your own needs?
What do you do?
Did you at any point try and stop yourself?
Okay, the next one here is an interesting movie. It is Ivansxtc, starring Danny Houston and, of course, Peter Weller. Also, the person who made this movie happen, Lisa Enos, she has a big part in this as well. So, this is a very strange movie. It was shot on digital in like a high frame rate, but then transferred to film. There's actually two versions of the movie, or maybe even possibly three versions of the movie on here. The extended producer's cut, the regular cut, and then one of them actually cut down to 24 frames per second. So it's a very unique looking movie. It's directed by Bernard Rose, who everybody knows did the Candyman and a bunch of other things. What's the one? Did he do Lady in White? I want to say he did, or one of those ones. Paper House. He did Paper House, if I'm not mistaken. Not Lady in White. Sorry for mixing those up. But yeah, this was a very interesting movie. Came out in mid 2000s or something like that. And it's kind of a look inside Hollywood. It's definitely a LA movie, Danny Houston is this agent. First and foremost, let me get this. Danny Houston is fantastic in this movie. He is great. I've seen him in stuff like The Proposition and 30 Days a Night. And this is such a unique role. And such a good role and a complex role. And to be honest, he is pretty much the driving force of this movie for me. His performance, his character arcs, and everything like that. It was a little jarring at first. I'm going to be on how it was shot. It felt more like a commercial or real life. It never felt like an actual film for the first 10 minutes until I adjusted to it. But that kind of works a little bit in its favor. It adds a sense of reality to it. So the opening of this movie is basically there's tons of characters all talking. They're all looking for this agent. Nobody knows where he is. And all of a sudden we realize everybody's saying he's dead. He died. And they're like, how'd he die? Drug overdose? Making jokes. And they're like, no, they said he had a massive, tumor in his lungs. He died of cancer. And they're like, what? That's nonsense. That's a front. So basically it goes through for a while. You're introduced to all the people. He was an agent representing actors and things like that. He represented Peter Weller, who's kind of a big shot actor, homophobic, kind of, pretty eccentric character, larger than life, one of these guys. Peter Weller's a great actor, so he's a good performance, of course. And you meet his girlfriend and, the people he worked with and all sorts of things. And everybody has their take on what happened to him and how he died. And then the second half of the movie, we follow him and we actually see what happens. And you see this like fast lifestyle he has to live as an agent and everything like that, encountering his family. And I just, by the end of it, I was really intrigued. And there's a point in here where I am going to spoil some things, so I'll put up a spoiler note, but just because I feel like that scene is so profoundly brilliantly done and really well done. And I just want to talk about it for anybody that isn't worried about spoilers or anything like that. But as far as the features are concerned, we have like this featurette documentary with Lisa Enos where she talks about, at first it's kind of a joke where she's like, I'm a big Hollywood, this is my stepping stone. But then she goes in and says, no, I was from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I always wanted to be an actress and I wanted to get involved with the film business. So it's nice to see, kind of like somebody just coming from a background like, where I'm from, so like Michigan, Ohio area coming through and making a movie. And it felt like, a dream or like something that they were dedicated goal towards. And I really like that. And, there's a bunch of other things on here too. There's 2 short films on here too. I wanted to grab the case to double check and everything like that. But there's 2 shorts on here, and they're both very artsy. The one was really well shot. The shorter one, it was interesting as well. So, but like I said, if you haven't seen this, check it out. At least for the performance by Danny Huston. This movie's not going to be for everybody. Give it 15 minutes before you turn it off, just to adjust yourself to the shooting style of the time and everything like that. Like I said, it's fairly different and unique. The music's also really good too and strong. So anyways, the spoiler here, there's a point where Danny Huston is a character that he does bad things, but you still like him and you still root for him. He's not a great guy, cheating on his girlfriend, all sorts of things like that. But for some reason, you feel like he was just caught in this whirlwind and couldn't get away. And, you don't want to justify his, transgressions, but you sometimes start just liking him. Maybe it's his performances. But like I said, this movie's also great and clever that you see a lot of the characters from the beginning and why they act like they act because what happened in Danny Huston's parts. So, but anyways, him and this 2 prostitutes, not prostitutes, but they're basically like they hang around all the rich Hollywood elites and stuff and sleep with them. And, probably, I'm not sure if they're, hired or they're actresses or who they are really. But they're sitting there and he invited them over and he has all these drugs laid out on the table and she says, what are you on right now? Truth or dare, how many drugs are you on right now? And he's like, I don't know, why don't you count them for me? And they start counting and going through them and everything like that, and coke, weed, and he's like, no, I never did heroin. But then he gets to one, he's like, there's something else about your eyes that I don't know what it is. And he's like, oh, these. And he hands them over and she reads them. And all of a sudden this party mood, this facade that he always has, this high energy smile on his face just fades when she says, these are for cancer. My mom died of these. And like, it's the first people that really know that he has cancer besides his doctor. And they're just like this. And he kind of wanders off and you see all that fade from his face and everything like that. I don't know. It was just really powerful. Anyways, this isn't going to be for everybody. I really thought it was pretty interesting movie. Ivansxtc, good stuff. From Arrow Video. Check it out. I think it's well worth your time and kind of different too.
Danny boy, the pipes are calling from studio to studio. I can see your name in lights right now.
It's always good to see you, Ivan.
Hi, it's Ivan Beckman.
Can I meet with you next week?
Of course you can. The deed is done.
You are huge.
How's your sleep been in the last 2 or 3 months?
It's okay.
What about your use of alcohol?
Alcohol, occasional binge.
What kinds of drugs, if any, do you use?
Well, let's say I live a little bit in the fast lane. Last night, I had this incredible pain. The pain was so strong that I took every pill in the goddamn house.
I know it's very difficult to maintain a sense of decency in that kind of life.
Pills wouldn't do anything. Pain wouldn't go away. I tried to find an image, one worthwhile image that would get me through it. And all I could find was shit. I couldn't find one worthwhile goddamn.
Okay, this next one from Arrow Video. This is, everybody's gonna laugh at me, but I'd seen a good chunk of Kevin Smith's movies, but I had never seen Mallrats. And this is one of these movies where my entire life, all my friends are talking about Mallrats. They love Mallrats, and they should, because it's 95. It's a movie about comic books, and at the time when they were interested in that, it was just a perfect kind of comedy. You know, by today's standards, do I even have to say this kind of stuff when I talk about 70s or 80s movies in general, especially comedies? It's very dated, and some people could be offended by some of the things in the movie. But this is very early for Kevin Smith. This is right after Clerks. It was a studio film, so there's a bigger budget. It's got, you know, some familiar faces in here. Shannon Doherty is in here. Jason Lee. It's one. I think it's his first real role. Of course, Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes are playing Jay and Silent Bob again. But we have Michael Rooker. We have Seth Thorsen. We have Stan Lee. It's just a really Ethan Sluppy. So we have a really great cast and a lot of, you know, beginnings for some of these people. Ben Affleck, Jeremy London. So, like, it's got a nice cast. It's a movie about slackers, you know, losing their girlfriends both in the same day and trying to win them back. But there's a lot of these kind of, you know, shout outs to comic books and all sorts of things like that. It's heavily a product of its time. It reflects the product, you know, the time it was in. And so people Kevin Smith's age or maybe a little older or younger are going to directly connect with this thing, especially if they were nerds growing up. And you can tell Kevin Smith has a lot of love for the source material. So anyways, there's these two guys trying to win back their girlfriends, and it all kind of is happening at the mall. Jeremy London is the main guy, and Jason Lee is like the secondary kind of fast-talking, kind of asshole, but likable, lovable asshole kind of guy. And basically he loses his girlfriend, and she has to go on a dating show to save her father's show, who's Michael Rooker, who's producing it. It's going to be live at the mall. They want to sabotage it, and that's kind of what leads up to this whole thing, and all these quirky characters popping in and out. And there's all these reoccurring jokes that kind of tie in later, like Ethan Sluppy is seeing it, one of these pictures that you stare at for a long time, and you're supposed to see like a 3D image. He's doing this the entire movie, and it's just a really fun gag, and it plays into the end. Just clever stuff like that. Seeing Michael Rooker in here is always a positive. Rooker's one of my favorite actors. He's always very good and very intense, and just also can be very funny too. He's very well rounded, you know, and a good character actor. And like I said, I'm always happy when he gets more recognition now for stuff like The Walking Dead and, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy. But he's really solid in this. Jay and Silent Bob are also really great. Jason Lee is probably the one that will stand out most to people because just his performances and everything like that, just his dialogue. There's Brian O'Hallahan has a small role in here too, but also Seth Thorsen cracks me up because he's the security guard, and just perfect casting for that guy. You know, he was in a bunch of Arnold movies and everything like that. You know, he's in The Running Man and Conan the Barbarian, so he's perfect casting with his little hat. LaForge, great. But so there's this great moment in here where, like I said, a lot of on PC humor at the time. Think of it, you know, almost more in line with an 80s comedy at some times. And, you know, but there's this great line where Jason Lee traps this contestant on the show and makes him look like an idiot in front of everybody. Anyways, really, I don't want to spoil this movie too much for those few people that haven't seen it, and I also don't want to just run down the movie and things that happen in the movie because it's kind of pointless because it's a popular film. But I thought that Arrow cleaned this up so well that I was watching it and I was like, this thing looks like it came out yesterday. Like, if this would have came out yesterday and they're like, oh, somebody could have told me this came out 2000, 2010, 2015, I would have bought it. It just looks freaking great. I mean, obviously the humor and the style of filmmaking kind of dates it, but still, I think the dialogue's funny. I laughed a lot. There's lots of very memorable moments and lots of stuff I remember my friends talking about and joking about. You know, sometimes those movies you hear so much about, you're kind of shy away from watching them. I don't know what kind of human condition that is in a cinephile, or people that love film in general. But anytime somebody tells you gotta watch them, you got a million times, you're kind of more likely not to watch it and watch something else. I don't know why that is, but certain movies, you know, it took me years to see Shawshank Redemption until I was like 16 when the movie was out for years. But that just kind of happens with people. So anyways, on the release, there's two versions, the theatrical and the extended TV cut, which is like 20 minutes longer. There is the new features on here, one with Kevin Smith, which I love because he's very vocal cool and very animated when he talks. He uses his hands a lot, and he tells us stories about all the producers involved, and he does voices. Anyways, he just does a great job, and he's very good at talking. He's very well spoken and everything. He's very funny, so that's really great. And then he has a little thing on here about remembering the producer who he seemed to have a lot of love for. Jason Mewes has a little interview on here. There's an animated featurette with a bunch of interviews from some of the smaller players on the crew and everything, which is really nice. There's a commentary, of course, and then there's archival features. So this thing's loaded. Like I said, 2-disc. If you like Mallrats, then it's a must. It was a first-time watch for me, and I really enjoyed it. I laughed quite a bit. We'd definitely watch again. Would like to watch with, one of my friends who's loved the movie. I just, see him get a lot of enjoyment out of it, because I know that a couple of my friends dug the hell out of this movie. And I've seen a handful of Kevin Smith movies, and the only one that I really don't think's very good is Yoga Hosers, to be honest. But the rest I've always enjoyed, so yeah.
I've never met a person who lives in as much fear of his mother as you do.
You want I should tell my mother what we do in here at night?
What, that you play video games and I fall asleep unfulfilled?
Oh, she calls you callow in here. You say that like it's bad. Well, it means frightened and weak-willed. That was the only part of the letter I thought was complimentary.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is Brody's private hell.
Where the hell did that come from? What's going on here?
And these
Brody man, noochie noochies,
are his friends.
Ow!
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. What's a stink palm? Take your hand, you stick it like this. There, now you shake hands with the guy. You know how long it takes for that smell to come off? If you stare at these things long enough, you're supposed to see some kind of hidden three-dimensional picture.
Oh, yeah, look, it's a sailboat.
You saw it too, damn it!
We slept together one time, remember, in high school, that ski trip?
That was you?
Dude, this looks like your mom.
Bye-bye, Easter Bunny.
There is no Easter Bunny!
You know about this game show thing they got going on here? Well, we need you guys to somehow ensure that it doesn't happen. Fly, badass, fly!
Good evening, and welcome to Truth or Date.
Second suitor, would you ever make whoopee in public?
No, I think that's kind of personal. I don't think I should answer that.
Mallrats.
You said it was a good size.
When a girl says it's a good size, it's a nice way of saying that it's small.
What else did you expect from the director of Clerks?
Hey!
Okay, next up is from Dark Force Entertainment, and this is Death Rage. This stars Yul Brynner, Martin Balsam, Barbara Boucher, and it's got, is that how you say her name? She's been in a bunch of these movies. And it's directed by Antonio Marighetti, who did stuff like Cannibal Apocalypse and The Last Hunter. So yeah, Yul Brynner, great actor. Great screen presence. He's such a strange actor to me because he was like a Swedish guy who made it in the Westerns, Magnificent Seven, Westworld, Adios Sabata, so a bunch of movies. And he has that voice. He has that strong voice, which for some reason just works. And it works here too. So he is this former hitman who's retired. He doesn't want to go back into the life of crime. And what happens is, this crime boss comes to him. These Americans are over in Italy gambling illegally and they get killed. And this crime boss comes to him and says, hey, I need you to do one more job. He says, absolutely not. He says, well, this guy actually is the guy who killed your brother too. So he says he does it. He goes to Italy. He ends up meeting up with one of the friends of the young kid who is a friend with the guy who got whacked. And he wants to team up with him so he can get his money back and all that kind of things. And Yul Brynner is on a kind of a death wish here. He doesn't care. He lets the bad guys see him. He has no fear. Martin Balsam is a cop. He starts to get involved, kind of catches on, everything like that. So it kind of confuses things. There's this like singer, dancer, Barbara Boucher, and of course Yul Brynner gets involved with her, and there's a huge difference in age, of course, but still it's just the way it is, and everything like that. So but there's definitely this whole thing of teacher student with Yul Brynner and the young kind of apprentice of his and everything like that, and he's kind of doesn't really want to go as far as killing people, but there's some decent action in here. For the most part, I enjoyed the movie. Unfortunately, I heard the Dark Force version is cut a little bit. I don't know if that's 100% true. This was my first time watching it. But I'm not 100% on that. There's other people that say that there's going to be a German Blu-ray that will be longer. I don't know what's going on with that or anything like that. There was no subtitles, which kind of bummed me out. Sometimes the movie will go into Italian, and most of the time there's subtitles there, but there was a couple scenes where there were no subtitles, and maybe it was just kind of jovial things like, how you doing? I'm not 100%. It felt like it might not be that important, but you never know. So there's a little bit of that in there. The print looks a little beat up, but I imagine it's a 1976 Italian crime film. I can imagine that it doesn't have the best elements to use, but I enjoyed the film, and I thought the ending was quite impactful and kind of depressing, and it reminded me a little bit of something like Violent City with Charles Bronson, which is another one of these Italian crime films, which is really a great movie too if you've never seen that one. But I would put the ending in kind of in line with something like that. Although I think there's more humanity in Yul Brynner's character. I think that he ends up being a kind of a better human maybe than Charles Bronson in that one. I mean, Charles Bronson's pretty mean bad guy in that one, all bad in that one for sure. But yeah, that is Death Rage. Pretty cool. I enjoyed myself. But any more information on the uncut version, or if this one's cut, or what's going on with it, let me know.
I'm a tourist.
How would you like to tour one of our prisons for 10 or 15 years for the murder of 2 men in the subway last night?
Arrest me.
No. Gallo's hiding out someplace, and you're going to lead me to him. You can do this voluntarily, then you're free to leave the country. If you don't, I'm going to keep you here forever. Thanks.
What's happened? Get the car and stick close to me.
Keep the engine running and stay ready for anything.
May I help you? May I help you?
Give me one of these.
Back it a bit.
Okay, this next one I want to be kind of brief with because I like this one so much, and I went kind of ape shit on the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror talking about it, but that's The Graveyard Shift. From 1990, directed by Ralph Singleton, starring Stephen Mott. Who else is in here? Vic Polaris, whatever his name is, Andrew Divoff, Brad Dourif. Yeah, so anyways, big fan of this one, grew up watching it, big fan of Stephen King at a young age, even liked a short story, which is Tiny and Night Shift. But anyways, this is a kind of a drifter, passes through this small town in New England area, and he gets a job at this mill. It's a really hard position to fill. It's the night shift. The previous people that it worked at have kind of disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The place is run by a guy named Warwick. who's an asshole, played by Stephen Mott. He's got the thickest New England accent. He's crazy. I love the lines. He's got great lines in here. Stevens is down there stringing up lights, and he's pissing and moaning. That line's forever stuck in my head. But just the way he talks, he's kind of an asshole. He has affairs with the women, treats everybody poorly. So anyways, this main drifter guy and a bunch of other kind of workers, a lot of goons, including a guy named Brogan, played by the Vic, end up having to do this overnight cleanup shift, or it's a 4th of July weekend or something like that, where they have to clean up this whole basement area. They end up finding like a secret cavern, and they go in there and they realize why people are mysteriously disappearing and why this place has a giant rat problem. So anyways, it turns out this is a creature feature. The monster looks great special effects, really thick atmosphere. Brad Dourif is in here as an exterminator. He has a wonderful monologue that he was a Vietnam vet and he has a distaste for rats for a good reason, but his whole line and speech is tremendous. Anyways, it's a really fun movie. There's some clunky stuff with Warwick kind of losing his shit almost immediately in this situation, but I've always enjoyed it, like the characters. I don't have much hate for I don't have many negative things to say about it. Much love, not much hate. So if you're interested in kind of a more longer in-depth kind of review, we covered on 22 Shots, and I have a rant about animal cruelty in movies, which I probably was a little out of line because there's not really any animal cruelty in this one, but it brought up the question of Food of the Gods, which is another Killer Rats movie, which has a lot of animal cruelty. But anyways, Graveyard Shift, the special features on here are pretty cool as well. There's an interview with the director, and there's some other people. I was listening to the director talk about how this whole thing got put together. There's an interview with Stephen Mott and some other new features as well, interviews and all that. So yeah, Graveyard Shift look great too. Look tremendous. My friend always told me this story about talking to Stephen Mott at Cinema Wasteland, and he said Stephen King was on set when Warwick actually faces off against the creature, and he loved that Warwick bit it. He loved that Stephen Mott bit the creature. He's like, he's biting it, and that's a relay story. I'm telling you somebody else's story that was told to them, whatever. So anyways, Graveyard Shift, great stuff.
Stephen King invites you to venture deep inside the caverns below the old Bachman Mill.
You're not thinking about going down in there?
Where a secret lies long forgotten by any living soul.
Just ain't no job worth this.
The workers suspected.
You can't put me down there. You can't put anybody down there. I know things.
The owner denies it.
What did happen to the fellow that started this job?
It didn't work out.
And everyone fears it.
This place is infested. That might be the understatement of the year.
Broken? Because one by one, it will devour them all.
We're like shrimp in an all-you-can-eat salad bar, and that thing ain't stopping till it's full.
Must be some other way out of here.
It's blood!
This isn't real.
This is the new horror from the mind of Stephen King. Graveyard Shift. Good benefits, early retirement.
Okay, right here we have a 2020 release, and bear with me here. This is Bacurau or Bacurau. I'm terrible with pronunciations, and South American, cities are not really my strong point. But this one counts as a 2020 release. It's not necessarily a horror movie. This is put out by Kino Lorber. It stars Uday Kier, who's the one most people would know in this one. But this is a very strange movie. This is a really good kind of thriller, sci-fi drama, I guess you'd kind of put it at. Less sci-fi than one would think, because I'm sure they have the technology now. But anyways, these kind of it sets up this small town area, and it introduces a lot of characters. There's a funeral. It opens up with a funeral and everything like that. So everybody's come back to the town to kind of mourn the loss of kind of like, I would say maybe like kind of a witch doctor or somebody who does kind of like, the spiritual medicine and everything like that. So there's a lot of people in town. Meanwhile, these two people on dirt bike motorcycles come through. I'm not sure if they're dirt bikes or motorcycles exactly, but they come through, and it's very strange. They're acting very weird, and they're questioning them because something's not right. The people that bring water there, the tank was shot, and everything's just not right. So pretty soon, people start to investigate, and they find some people in the outskirts of the town have been murdered, and that these people that came through had planted kind of a jamming signal. So what's going on is there's a group. I mean, without saying this, there is nothing really to talk about. So if you don't want to know anything about the movie, just skip to the next one. But there's a group of kind of, rich, mostly Americans. I actually, they all would be Americans, but rich Americans that are on the, outskirts of this town, and they're pre-planning a slaughter because they're privileged pieces of garbage that want to just kill a bunch of people in some sort of weird military exercise. But there's a lot of dark comedy bits in the dialogue that they have, just the stupidity that they kind of are. Uday Khair's got a great little speech about, being more American than some guy that was only 34 because he's lived in this country for 40, and he was mad that this guy called him a Nazi. That whole scene's really funny. But anyways, that this whole impending doom is going to happen. But as, the town would suggest, there is some violence in this town's history, and these people aren't just going to lay down and die. So some people do suffer casualties. Unfortunately, certain people die. It's kind of sad, but it is kind of refreshing or rewarding to see what happens later on. And it ties into a political figure that came through the town, which is an absolute idiot. And anyways, this is a pretty good movie, well worth checking out. Uday Khair is really good in it, and when the violence hits, it's violent. Like the gunshots, the squibs go off, and it just feels matter of fact sometimes, and they don't really shy away from the violence in here. But yeah, interesting movie too, and you get a look at this culture and develop this whole town and city and all these characters, and I think it's worth your time. I think it's a good movie. Yeah, it's something different too for 2020.
Olha aqui, ó. Nós temos que procurar Bacurau no mapa, né? Ué, era pra estar aqui.
Cadê Bacurau?
Boa tarde, amigos de Bacurau.
Cada um pode vir aqui pegar o mantimento que precisar, tá? Vamos usar a consciência, tá bom?
So this is Bacurau.
Quem nasce em Bacurau é o quê?
É gente.
Cara, é tirar em mim, velho.
Aqui nessa terra não pode acontecer dessa forma, não, viu?
A gente tá sendo atacado.
Oh, yeah.
Por que vocês estão fazendo isso?
There's so much you can do with a knife.
This world is upside down.
Só bebe água da colônia, mas não volte a minha casa, andem cheirando a caixa.
Okay, this next one is from Survive 2005, and I watched it online. This is Next Door. I believe it is. Is it a Swedish one, or is it? It's from Norway, so it's Scandinavian from Norway, Norwegian, and they're Norwegian back every time. Norwegian. Sorry, that's the thing, but Next Door. This one I hadn't heard much about. It's released by Danger After Dark, which is a pretty strong label, pretty good label. And so I put this in, and within it's short, and I was like, are we going to go into this direction? We have this kind of lonely guy who just broke up with his girlfriend. He seems miserable, and pretty soon next door neighbors are very strange. They call him over, and they kind of just bring him in, and this really awkward and weird, and you're like, oh, is it going to be one of these deals where they keep him imprisoned and everything like that? Thankfully, it's not that, and I don't want to spoil too much because the movie keeps switching what it is, and then it turns into something else where it's kind of predictable in the same way, but it gets a little bit more interesting in how it unfolds, and I guarantee if you watch this again, you'll pick up on more hints here and there in the character's psyche that give you hints and everything like that, but for the most part, I think it's fairly obvious at a certain point where this is going and what is happening. As far as, I don't want to get into depth with this movie because I don't have that much to say, but there's some really disturbing sexual nature stuff in here, sex with violence, which is unpleasant, and reveals that kind of realize, character psychology and stuff like that are kind of scary if that were to happen to you or, someone you know. But anyways, I thought it was decent. I thought for a, kind of a isolated horror film, I thought it was worth checking out. The acting's fairly solid, and that's Next Door. Like I said, I just don't want to talk about it very much, without I'll completely spoil it. Kind of like Cello from last week too. So, but that is Next Door, survived 2005. We're checking out. I don't see it making my top 10 or anything like that, but you never know.
Unnskyld. Kunne jeg be deg om en tjeneste? Jeg bor der nede, og så har jeg noe som er litt tungt som jeg skulle flytte på.
Nei, ingen problem. Jeg kommer bort etterpå, jeg.
Du har ikke mulighet nå med en gang?
Du må være sterk som greier å flytte den der.
Hvorfor tror du to temmelig vakre kvinner må gå til det skrittet og sette et tungt skap framfor ytterdøra?
En mann, han vil inn.
Hvorfor vil han inn da?
Fordi han er betatt av en eller begge.
Har du vært her før?
Hva du snakker om? Klart jeg har ikke vært her før.
Men du har det. Sånn er det å være naboer.
Okay, this next one is a Patreon pick from Eau Claire, and this is Housebound, which I think came out in 2014, and I had seen this one before, and I remember liking it. It's a New Zealand film. Did I say that already? But it's a Kiwi. Anyways, this movie is a lot of fun. It's a horror comedy horror, however you want to put it. It's quite long, though, running in an hour and 50 minutes, and every time I put this in, I feel like I struggle with the first 20 minutes. I'm not 100% invested, but after that, I just really get invested in the movie. I get invested in the quirky characters and all the interactions and stuff like that, and the reveals and how it unfolds and how everything comes together and everything was set up beforehand. So basically what we have here is a young woman who is addicted to drugs. She's a kind of a petty criminal. She ends up getting caught. Instead of getting put in a correctional facility, they're going to give her house arrest with her mother for 8 months, and that's the bigger punishment, I guess. In America, the correctional facilities and the prison systems are much more harsh than in New Zealand, because if she would have pulled half the stuff she would have pulled in America, they would have locked her up and threw away the key, most likely. But anyways, what happens is she gets put on house arrest, and she's just a miserable, bitchy, acting like teenage girl with her mother and her mother's husband, which is her stepfather, I guess, Graham. And at first she's really miserable, and then she's always miserable, but still, spooky things start to happen around the house. And, back in the day, her mother used to say it was haunted and everything like that. She never bought it. But pretty soon she starts to think that horrible things are happening. She has to deal with the guy who basically puts her ankle bracelet on, and he hears whiff of this, and he is a paranormal investigator, which is really great. So he's always around the house trying to help her figure out what's going on. Her psychiatrist is coming in and out, and there's a couple kind of bumbling idiot cops that are always around. So not completely bumbling, but they're kind of a little goofy coming around and everything like that. So we set all these characters up. Pretty much these are all the characters within the movie, and they're used really well. There's also kind of a creepy neighbor. So we set all these things up, and there's clues to be found, these kind of false teeth, these platelet teeth and everything like that. So they start to investigate deeper and deeper, and then there's a bunch of reveals that you really don't expect. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of more than one explanation. The comedy's great. It's really funny. There's kind of moments of slapstick, and the timing's really good. And there's this great awkward moment where the stepfather's like, "Could you help me glue something?" And he never talks, and he's really awkward, and they're just standing there, and she's like, "How long do I have to hold this for?" He's like, 10 minutes. And they're just like, and then he starts to kind of reveal some of his life, and it's just really funny. And like it has that awkward sense of humor too, and the way that lines are delivered and everything like that. It just really works for me at least. And when the violence is there, it's pretty violent. But I liked all the characters. I really did. I thought it was very funny. And it just worked really well. And like even the bad guys or the bad people in the movie make me laugh. Like again, another one I don't want to dive into and spoil that much, but just works for me. And if you get past the first 30 minutes and you're like, just give it a little bit more time, I guarantee you'll really like it. But there's some great lines in here. Like basically when she says this is nonsense and the paranormal investigator guy says, see, closed-mindedness is the number one enemy of the paranormal. And she says, I didn't say I didn't believe it. I'm just going to, it's like, what are you going to do? Smash it in the face. And he walks away under his breath and he's like, you can't punch ectoplasm. And that just made me laugh. Anyways, really like the movie. Really like the interactions with people. And by the end of it, you'll be invested for sure. That's Housebound. Great stuff. Great pick. So yeah, I don't think I've ever really covered it very much on the show, but I do love it.
Your client has been through a number of these treatment programs in the past, and the results have been less than spectacular. Miss Bucknell is in need of stability. I'm therefore ordering an urgent report into the suitability of her mother's house for a sentence of 8 months home detention.
Gosh, that's high tech, isn't it? Aren't you lucky, Kylie, having all that fancy technology on your foot?
Nice being back home.
Some things have happened since I've been here. Things I can't explain.
Thought there was a ghost in this house, Kylie.
What are you going to do against a hostile spirit?
I'm going to smash it in the face.
When you put an overactive mind in an inactive environment, there's bound to be complications.
I don't need a counselling session, I just need to get out of this house!
Oh no, they've been doing this all week. Hold on.
The restless spirit that lives in this house, what is your business here?
So, are you happy to proceed with the story that Mr. McRandall was attacked by a vengeful ghost?
Yes.
Righto.
Hey guys, what's up? It's time for Blindspot. I don't remember what episode this is, maybe 20-something. We're coming close to halfway. This was my pick, and this is 1988's Pin. I had never seen it, heard a lot about it. I had the DVD, Canadian import, for years, and I just never watched it. I know this is one of the ones that I definitely would have picked. Like those weird psychological, like sexual weird nonsense that you hate all the time. But yeah, so the plot of this one's pretty weird. It jumps over in time. I think probably 3 prominent times, and it gets longer each time. It starts off as kids. It's a brother and sister. They're kind of strange anyways. They're highly fascinated by sexual things, but maybe kids are, but it's still creepy when it's shown in movies, like looking through porn mags and everything. It's almost like the brother and sister personalities, like in aggression for sex, are like switched.
Yeah.
But so their dad is Terry O'Quinn. He's a doctor, and he like uses this life-size like anatomy doll or something to teach kids and teach his kids about sexual things in the body and everything like that. And he uses his ventriloquist traits, so it's really creepy. So every time he needs to talk to his kids about anything medically related, he uses Pin to do it. So unfortunately for the young boy, and the daughter to a certain extent, they develop a strange fascination with Pin. They think he's alive, they think he's part of the family, and the boy takes it a step further and becomes almost a paranoid schizophrenic due to it.
Yeah.
So okay, the first part of the movie I think is the most interesting. It's creepy. It opens up in the very beginning, like with these kids spying on this house, and you kind of, and obviously he's going to come back to that, but it reminds me of some Flowers in the Attic shit in the very opening with the kids. But I think the first part, like you said, is the most interesting, where we have them as young children and everything like that, and you see how they develop to what they are. And then as they get older, it's still interesting. But when it finally like hits the third act, we still have 50% of the movie left, and it's just like it feels like they rushed the first 2 acts and got to the final act and just stretched that out forever.
Yeah, I would say that the beginning parts of the movie,
are probably like the meat and potatoes of the movie. It's interesting. I love the parents. And just like exploring the kids growing up, it's really cool. It's really weird. It's out there. There is like a gender reversal of like the brother and the sister, where the sister is like she's looking at the porn magazine with the breasts, and the boy has no interest. He likes the porcelain ballerina. She's playing with an RC car, and he's picking flowers. That you know,
it's obviously kind of switched on that aspect. But you know what's interesting about this movie? Typically, you have the person with the psychological disorder, or the crazy person in this movie is like a Norman Bates or any other one, and you already have them as an adult. And then you have to rewind and see what happened to them. This one, you see everything that happened to these kids early on, and then we see the results later. And we already know why they're like that. And you do kind of hope that the kid, he'll have a recovery.
No, I don't. I hate the kid.
From the very beginning, you always hate him?
Yeah, he's weird.
So, but still, you don't want him to lapse too bad.
No,
you don't want him to go across that line. The daughter is much more likable.
Yeah, but the daughter,
she's supposed to be.
Yeah, she is a far more compelling character. You know, she starts, you know, in like at a younger age in high school, like, you know, developing her sexuality. The brother loses it over this. What else do we have going on here? I don't know. I just
the one part's really good with Terry O'Quinn and the car when they're driving the car.
Yes,
that's all great. But Terry O'Quinn's really good in it, and he's not a stranger to these kind of weird movies like this. He's also in Stepfather and stuff like that. But no, he's really solid in this one. This is a solid, decent movie. I'm not madly in love with it like a lot of other people. I'm glad I watched it, and it kind of, you know, it is a bit underrated. Not many people talk about it still, but I feel like it's kind of a dark horse. People do know about it now.
It is a bit. I mean, it's good. I will say that the first half is so unique and so fun, and like you have to wonder if like maybe this is some sort of bio thing going on, like a biography thing, because it's just so out there. But then like the second half of the movie, it becomes like a paint by number horror thriller, and it's like I don't know. It just really lost my interest.
I'm glad
after the parents died.
I'm glad they never did the thing where they're like, "Is the doll alive?" Because we don't need to see that.
Right.
Like, we've already seen that a million times, and we know it's not. Like we know it's not.
Like Magic, it was up in the air. In this one, it was like, okay, it's.
Have you ever seen Christmas Evil, the 1980 movie?
Mm-mm.
At the very beginning of the movie, the kid sneaks down to look at the presents, and he sees his dad. He doesn't know it's his dad dressed as Santa Claus, like give his mom oral pleasure.
That's right.
And it fucks him up. And that kind of happens with Pin here. Is that nurse comes in and screws the dummy, and it looks like it's anatomically correct and everything. So that's kind of strange. It messes him up completely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm gonna read from the book because I don't really have that much more to say about it. Do you?
Nah, no.
So this is Creature Features by John Stanley. He gives Pin 3 out of 5. Subtitled An Unexpected Visit to the Most Terrifying Place, this adaptation of a popular novel by Andrew Niederman is a fascinating study of abnormal sexual psychology and depicting a paranoid schizophrenic played by David Hewlett. Country doctor Terry O'Quinn uses a mannequin named Pin, short for Pinocchio, to teach his son and daughter sex education and uses ventriloquist talents to project the voice. Hewlett believes Pin is real and sinks ever deeper into his own soulful terror, marking life miserable for his sister and her boyfriend. Writer-director Sandor Stern not only makes it seem plausible, but eliciting good performances, but captures an understanding of mental illness too often lost in mind thrillers. New World put this out, so.
Okay, Terror on Tape by some hack.
James O'Neill, he's not a hack. Why do you keep saying that?
Because it's the only thing I know. Alright, Pin. Man, we should have watched The Pit.
I love The Pit. They gave it half a star?
Yeah?
The Pit has half a star in this book out of 4.
Poor guys. Alright, 3 out of 4 stars. Subtle and effective Canadian psychological thriller about a repressed doctor's son who suffers from delusions, but a life-size anatomical doll called Pin, short for Pinocchio, is alive and killing those who come between the lad and his sexy sister. Despite Despite the excellent performances, particularly O'Quinn of the stepfather as another malevolent parental figure, and sharp cinematography, this downbeat tale is marred by an unbelievably happy ending, except for a terrifically...
Where's it?
Terrific Callie. I don't think that's a word. I've never heard terrific.
Yeah, that's a misspelling. It's terrifical.
Like terrific?
It's a terrific and...
But terror.
Terrific.
Terrifically?
Terrific is what he says.
Fuck that. Creepy psycho-esque final shot. I
don't remember the final shot.
The final shot is just him looking out the window.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yes.
yes.
I miss him too.
That part's great, actually. The ending's really cool.
I mean...
Have you talked to... What was his name?
Oh, Jose. I don't know.
It's not Jose. Stop it. Why would it be Jose?
Well, what was the guy's? I can't remember. It was...
Leon.
Yeah, Leon.
Have you talked to Leon? No, I haven't. I miss him.
Because the daughter's name is Ursula.
Yeah.
I'm
like a 6.5, 7. I'll go 7 out of 10. I like it.
Personally, I give it a 2. Realistically, it's probably a 2.5. I mean...
You're just doing this on purpose.
I'm not doing it on purpose. So
you can win at the end. That's what you're doing.
No, I mean... Look, you can watch magic.
It's okay, because you have Forbidden World in yours, and that's just... You're going to be like, it's great. Yeah, it's
like, 5 out of 5. 6 out of 5.
6 out of 5. Forbidden World.
No, I mean, like I said, the beginning was great. It, caught my interest. Like, I liked looking at the relationships all the characters had. The father and mother. And even when the aunt came in...
I like the aunt, too.
I really liked the aunt. And then it just petered out. And it was like... It was seriously 15 minutes of like, I like this guy. I don't like this guy. You should like the bottle.
Remember his literature? How messed up the literature he's writing? It's so gross.
He's talking about like boning his sister.
Raping his sister.
This movie does do, everything is put forward in the movie. Like there isn't, like how we were talking about, what was that movie last week? The documentary one, the Japanese
No
one.
Rai?
Yeah.
No Rai.
Where it presents information, and there isn't like a twist in this movie. It's very much like they foreshadow a lot. They don't really try to hide anything. They don't try to keep you guessing. So I do appreciate that it's a very straightforward narrative, but it's just it petered out for me. I mean, I think we paused at like the 54-minute mark, and we said like 54 minutes left, and I'm like, oh my god.
There's 48 minutes left. I was literally expecting 22 minutes.
Yeah, so was I.
And I was like, holy shit, like.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like a lot of nothing at the end.
The ending's very good. I understand why you don't like it.
Like towards the end.
I mean, like the last shot is really good. So.
Yeah,
but I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's great. I think it's kind of rated where it belongs. Good, but not great. Kind of underseen,
Like a 2.5. Maybe a 3. Maybe a 3 if you're really into...
3.25 to 3.5.
3.2. We can't be, like, quartering.
That's why I said 6.5 or 7.
7/8.
We're just on a scale of 100, and it's getting a 72.15252.
Right.
Dash 33333.
What's your formula for this? I don't know. It was meh.
What's next week?
Next week is Akira.
Akira, that's yours.
Yeah,
I have seen Akira before.
I've read a little bit of it, and I've seen clips, but I've never actually sat down and watched it. And I always thought that Tetsuo was a character from Akira.
Tetsuo!
But I don't think this is going to be the case. I think there's just a separate character named Tetsuo in this movie.
I think, when was Akira made? 87.
I don't know.
And I would guess Tetsuo was made 89.
Oh? So they must not be related.
Probably not.
I mean, it's Iron Man.
Unless the director...
No, I mean, he might have been an influence.
He might have been a fan. I mean, I think he was, probably.
I mean, who wasn't a fan of Akira? Me, because I'd never seen it. But...
I do not. I want to buy the 4K to watch, but it's going for $40 right now, and I just can't justify a $40 4K.
No, we're going to rip it from YouTube.
No, we're not.
Yeah,
I think I have a DVD.
Like look up video 1 of 8, 2 of 8, and like there's like that 30-second overlap.
I'll just buy the Blu-ray, or I think I have a DVD. I got it. Or I'll just rent it. I'll rent the damn
from
thing.
Ashley Furniture.
Yeah, there we go. We'll have the Sci-Fi Channel version I saw originally.
What's up with YouTube like advertising the Sasquatch soap commercial?
What?
I don't know. I watch YouTube and like it'll interrupt my video for an ad, but the ad's like 3 minutes long, and it's like, okay, go back to playing the music I was listening to because I'm doing this shit.
No one knows what you're talking about.
I keep on getting these ads on YouTube, and it's like a 3-minute ad.
It's telling you to take a shower
for soap
because you stink.
A little bit, a lot. An honest-to-God lie.
Yeah, so this is the end of this. Akira's next week.
Next week. Yeah.
All right. Nobody cares about your complaint. Why'd you get on your soapbox? You get on here, and you're like,
soapbox complaining about soap.
and one more thing. Why is that YouTube trailer? What?
Why is 3 minutes?
You're like, one more thing. Those commercials are too long now.
No, hold on. No, because I want to get this off my chest.
You're not. I'm stopping it.
Seriously. Because it's like I'm washing dishes, listening to some sort of music, and it's like it stops to play this 3-minute fucking ad about something I'm never going to buy. And it's like, I can't hit the
That's a
skip
commercial.
button.
That's what you get for getting free music. You have to listen to their advertisement.
No, absolutely not. No, I should be interrupted. Or like at the end of the video, before it goes on to the next track, it's like...
Shh, be quiet. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play this because I have Amazon Music.
Oh, I don't want to listen to Alexa. I want to listen to it on my phone because sometimes they put the lyrics on the phone. And
aren't you supposed to be cleaning instead of reading lyrics?
I'm going to shut this book.
This is over.
All right, bye.
Okay, let's get into these questions. Bad Brains Horror. Forbidden Planet sounds great. What do you think about Bava's Planet of the Vampires? Want to check that one out. That's actually on me or Jeremy's Blindspot. We'll be covering it, so I won't get into it. I've never seen it, so it's on our Blindspot. Nick Moore, last week you discussed the influence of Forbidden Planet had a sci-fi horror. Can you think of a film that did the same for the zombie horror? Not Night of the Living Dead, of course. There's a lot of zombie horror films that were heavily influential. I would say that something like Zombie obviously went ahead and influenced a lot of the Italian films, but one that actually was way ahead of its time. Obviously, Night of the Living Dead was way ahead of its time. I think Messiah of Evil had some really cool, scary ideas that were ahead of its time. I'm trying to think of one that implemented technology or things like that. Well, I mean, you get Nightmare City had fast running. People would say they're infected, but for all, genre purposes, zombies. I think Return of the Living Dead was very intelligent on how it played on something that was pre-established already and tied into it. So, there's just so many ways. But there's nothing quite like Forbidden Planet that was that strong, unless we're talking about Night of the Living Dead, that basically set forth all these genres. I mean, you can't tell me I can't use Night of the Living Dead because Night of the Living Dead is the one. There's nothing ever that set forth that many rules that stayed as Night of the Living Dead. And Forbidden Planet has so many different things that I don't think I've seen that took place before that. I'm sure there's some sci-fi experts that would say, well, this happened first and this Twilight Zone episode or this for, something like that. But anyways, I just felt way ahead of its time to me. But if you had to pick between boarding the Horror Express or driving Christine the car from hell, which would you pick? See, now, if I'm boarding the Horror Express, I'm most likely going to get killed. Now, if I'm driving Christine, that means maybe she's going to have a hold over me because I doubt Christine lets anybody drive her except her owner. So I'm going to have to board the Horror Express because if Christine gets a hold of you, she ain't letting go. At least in the Horror Express, I got a chance. Maybe I'll jump off the train and just fall on the ground and hope that monster doesn't follow me. And plus, I get to meet Telly Savalas on the Horror Express and Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? No, I have not. It's just something I like to say before I kill people. I know, Batman. Burns. I love the Tomy franchise. Third one is from Takashi Shimutsu. Is the box set on Blu-ray? Unfortunately, that box set is only DVD. And then we have some answers. Basically, I asked you what your favorite Korean movie was. Some people gave me some... Asian ones in general, some Korean ones. But Michael Woodward, a few good Asian films you should check out. Maybe you know them, I don't know, but one is called Evil Dead Trap. I do know that one. Japanese by Tosahara Ikeda. And boy, is it a doozy. It's a crazy movie. I've seen it. Great soundtrack and obviously inspired by Argento. You can't go wrong with this. Great kills in this one. There are 2 unofficial sequels to this one as well. Another is Centipede Horror by Keith Lee, which is from Hong Kong. Another one is The Bride with White Hair by Ronnie Yu. And check out Green Snake by Tissue Hark. All excellent. The Bride with White Hair sounds familiar, and I know Ronnie Yu, obviously, did a bunch of movies. The Green Snake, I don't know if I've heard of it. I've heard of the director. But, yeah, I might have seen Centipede Horror, actually. I've seen The Devil, which is similar to Centipede Horror. So, thank you for the suggestions. David Leather, favorite Korean films are In the Glass Cage, Visitor Q, Sallow, 120 Days of Sodom. And is this a joke? Because I don't think any of those are Korean. Nick Mua, epic episode this week, Mr. Parka. I very much enjoyed you giving us a tour of cinema from the Far East. As for my favorite Korean film, I'm taking the obvious route with Parasite, an excellent slice of pitch black humor cinema. The film feels current without pandering to its audience. We all know the rich are getting richer and the poverty is spreading faster than COVID-19. The performances are all amazing, the cinematography vivid. I love this film to bits. Also love the close-up shots of your hands during your weekly update. Ever consider working as a hand model? No, I work in a factory. These are all scarred up. Ilk Vomit. Favorite Korean film for me is Old Boy. I've always remembered the first time I saw that film. Jason Willard. Favorite Korean movie is a tie between I Saw the Devil and The Man from Nowhere. Ken Coakley. My favorite Korean film isn't a horror movie, but a remake of the classic action film from Hong Kong, which was A Better Tomorrow. I didn't have high expectations. I liked the original. When I saw the original, I had immersed myself in Hong Kong films for 5 years. There's a French poster for the original showing Chow Yun-fat lighting a cigarette with a $100 bill, which he does 5 minutes in, and John Woo was better involved in the remake, but they changed a lot of things around. Isamiso, I have so many Korean favorites. Narrowing it down, I have to go with the other commentator and say I Saw the Devil as an absolute favorite. Also love The Isle, with one particularly cringeworthy / gruesome scene. Mobius, which I think I covered, The Housemaid, Vengeance Trilogy, and so much more. I need to see that Housemaid movie. I feel like Korean films are generally pretty fearless and don't give a crap about taboos. No Rai, The Curse scares the shit out of me. I don't get scared often by movies anymore, but that one is extremely unsettling and effective with some really eerie imagery. The only horror movie that scares me just as much is Cairo. Is that The Cure? Another amazing update. I look forward to more. Thank you. Kaiser Soza, The Host, John Soloway, I Saw the Devil. That's a great movie too. Michael LeBlanc, Train to Busan, Matthew Ham, Tale of Two Sisters, Patty Rhodes, The Man from Nowhere, Chaser, A Bittersweet Life, No Mercy for the Rude, I Saw the Devil. Robert D., The LC and The Wailing are fantastic. Also, The Handmaiden is great. Wait, The Housemaid and The Handmaiden. I think I'm confusing. No, The Handmaiden, I know that one too. Samuel Glass, I Saw the Devil, Train to Busan, The Wailing, Soul Station, and Okja. Matthew Starr, Thirst, Metamorphosis, Bedeviled. Bedeviled's a great one too. Daniel Roebuck Lafleur, The Vengeance Trilogy, Thirst, Red Shoes, Tale of Two Sisters, The Chaser, Derek Bourgeois, Lady Vengeance, The Villainous, Memento Mori, New World, The Tiger, I Saw the Devil, Mother, etc. Melanie Boom Odom. Here's some aside from the already popular picks mentioned. Memories of Murder, Hansel and Gretel, Killer Tune, Parasite, Burning. Jason Fetters, Tale of Two Sisters, Thirst, Three Extremes, Ryan Vincent Logston, The Butcher, David Luton, I Saw the Devil, The Wailing, Train to Busan, A Tale of Two Sisters, and pretty much all the Park Chan-wook's filmography. Peter England, 10 in alphabetic order, The Chaser, Host, I Saw the Devil, Man from Nowhere, Memories of Murder, Mother, Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Thirst, The Wailing. Amy Fox Goodwin, I Saw the Devil, Vengeance Trilogy, The Wailing, Parasite, The Host, Mother, Chaser, Hawaya, The Monster Boy, Memory of Murder, Tale of Two Sisters, The LOC, Dan Mead, Doomsday Book, Jason Patrick, Bedevil is My One, Eric Waters, Fighter in the Wind, Martel Waddell, I Saw the Devil, Old Boy, The Wailing, The Host, Peter McCain, I Saw the Devil, Old Boy, LOC, A Bittersweet Life, The Man from Nowhere, Brandon Young, The Host, Train to Busan, Bichamu, Joint Security Area, Parasite, to name a few, Lucky O. Devis Lloyd, Bedeviled, and The Host, Michael Honeycutt, City of Violence, I Saw the Devil, Old Boy, The Villainous, Jamal Potter, Practically Anything with Min Sink Choi, and most of Chan Wook's films, Jun Ho and Ji Woon Kim. Don't forget Castaway on the Moon. Jay Ranella, Tell Me Something, The Host, Bedeviled, Train to Busan, Tale of Two Sisters, Mike Merriman, Thirst, Old Boy, Shishim Barbarian. There are a lot of good ones, but I Saw the Devil and Bedeviled are my top two. Brian Gallister, Thirst, exclamation point. Oh, also Coldfish. Michael Sennett, A Tale of Two Sisters. Michael Montsatsos, sorry about that. I Saw the Devil, Train to Busan, Parasite. Patty Rhodes, A Dirty Carnival. Eric Whiting, Parasite, Handmaiden, The Host, Old Boy. Ned Christensen, The Host. Juan Hernandez, The Wailing. And then we have some information I'd like to read. Adam Watson says, hey, Mr. Parker, look at the thumbnail of a video called Death Angel on channel called Nuclear Blast Records. Guy looks just like you if you were like 20 or so years older. Think he might be Your old man. That's not quite possible. I tried to find it. I couldn't find it right away. So Jason Bovee just watched Nori the Curse. And wow, fantastic movie. Thanks for the recommendation. I knew there was a reason I subscribed to your channel. Thanks for subscribing, man. I felt the same way. I was like, I put this off for years because it was 2 hours found footage. It's not going to be an easy watch. And I put it on, I was like, this is so good. I felt stupid. Sparky Mark 23, Tomy Movie Collection needs an awesome Blu-ray release. Incarnate, since you mentioned not knowing about those gun crazy movies, you actually have parts 3 and 4 in the set. Well, technically they are known as episodes 3 and 4. If possible, you really need to get parts You really need to get parts. Episodes Gun Crazy Woman from Nowhere, Episode 1, and Gun Crazy Beyond the Law, Episode 2. All 4 typically run only about an hour. Each story is unique. The only thing they have in common is they feature girls with guns. So you can watch them in any sequence, really. I only say you need to get them because the first 2 are really good. Guru Works, Adore Sato. There's a great dichotomy to his actual messages and themes versus straightforward and sleazy marketing of them. No doubt, no doubt. David Leather, the second is, oh, this is so dumb. Dora Kitty Films Army says the first comment is too much pressure, and David Leather says the second is overwhelming. That cracked me up. Lars Neeson, yes, the 88 films version is cut. He's talking about Massacre in Dinosaur Valley. The scene with the cockfighting is gone. Job Punk, regarding preserving my collection, this is an answer from last week. Most of my holdings is VHS. Certain movies I can rewatch, so if I can have a second copy to wear down. I learned not to rewind the tape right after playing since the machine heats it up. I also rewind them in the rewinder, not the VCR. I once learned not to leave tapes in the VCR when not playing since there's a possibility the magnet machine will do damage. Ilk Vomit, Bruno Mattei is the biggest ripoff artist, ? And he said, Godfred Ho, hold my beer. Who did, Men Behind the Sun 2 and 3. Bump as Hounds, Precautions. I always wash my hands before I handle the cases and the disc, and I never let anyone touch them unless they do the same. So I guess we're going to get to the question of the week. And something popped up that was kind of a scare for me. So basically, I want to know where, if I wasn't doing these video reviews on YouTube, where do you guys think the best, safest place where you guys would find me would be? Would I make my own website? Would I flip over to Vimeo and share them on Facebook? Where would you guys think that if I could no longer make YouTube videos, where should I go to make the YouTube videos? Would I go audio only? Let me know. Because, sometimes, wonder if, the YouTube bubble is going to burst at one point. So what is, where would you guys want me to go? And how would you guys find me? All that kind of stuff. Audio only, Vimeo, Facebook video, I'm not sure, review site. Just let me know where you guys would like me to go. What do you think the best alternative to YouTube is for video reviews and video shows and all that kind of stuff? So anyways, let's hop into this update. Okay, let's hop into this update. First, we got Evil Dead 2 on 4K. Kind of have a, confession to make. This is my least favorite of the series, the first 3 at least. And I have not watched this in years. I'm going to obviously give it a rewatch. But, this is my least favorite of all the Evil Dead, the first 3 movies. So I know that's blasphemy. It's a lot of people's favorite. It never connected with me like a lot of the other ones. A lot of these are from the Target sale. It was buy 2, get 1. So here we have Parasite, which obviously I hear great things about. Best Picture. So yeah, I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. I've not had a chance to watch it yet, but it'll probably be this month. Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. Obviously going to be great. Then we have some Blu-rays here. We have Z, which is a Shudder original. Not had a chance to watch this. Got a good price on it. It was under, it was like $10 or something like that. So why not? $9 after the buy 2 get 1. Prevenge, which I heard pretty decent things about. Killing for 2. Not watched this one. Gonna be a comedy horror movie, I guess. And then Mon 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 Monsters. This one looked really good to me. I picked it up on Amazon for a good price. So, I hear good things about it. I hear some mixed things, but this one sounds like it's up my alley. So, yeah. And then next we have Blood Quantum, which I was really kind of mixed on. And I know a lot of people like it, and I can see why they like it, but I'm willing to give it another chance. And, I think it's good enough to own. It's just something about it really rubbed me the wrong way. I loved half of it and kind of hated the other half. So, not like split in half, but just I love half the stuff and half the stuff I didn't care for. We have Creepshow Season 1. Got a good price on this, and the buy 2 get 1. I really enjoyed watching this one. Not every episode's great, but there is a good amount that are really good, so I picked it up. Then one I didn't have on Blu-ray is Dan Curtis's Dracula, starring Jack Palance, which I have the DVD, but yeah, picked this one up. Gotta have Jack Palance and Blu-ray. This one I covered a little bit ago. Absolutely loved it. Used Cars. Jack Warden and Kurt Russell, just Garrett Graham. Just love this. Very funny, very entertaining. Robert Zemeckis movie. Had to have it. Great stuff. Love it. Then we have The Man with X-Ray Eyes, which I have on DVD, Ray Milland. This one sounded great. I heard, who was it? The Horcast cover it on there, and that kind of pushed me over to get it. Like, I was going to get it eventually, but I was like, I got to get this sooner than later. So, yeah. Then we have Deep Star 6 from Kino. Not all aliens come from space. Great cover art. I remember that scene in the movie's really cool too. This one I remember always started slow, but I kind of liked it as a kid. I don't know if it's going to hold up now, but hey, why the hell not? Deep Star 6. Ganja Hess is a movie I wanted on Blu-ray for years. I had the DVD. I wish that glare was a little less, obvious. But anyways, Dwayne Jones. This one I hear is great, so... obviously good things about it for years is what I've heard, so yeah, and I just was waiting to get the Blu-ray. Then we have some cheapies, never had High Tension on Blu-ray, so grabbed it during the sale, didn't spend much for it, like $8 or something like that. And this is on that sale too, Black Christmas. Yeah, I know a lot of people hate this, but for the price, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of curious to see if it's as bad as everybody says it is. Why not for the price? Yeah. And then we have The Hunt, which I didn't get a chance to watch in theaters or anything like that. Or was it even? Didn't it get pulled? Was it halfway through theaters or something like that? There's a lot of controversy about this one. But definitely going to check it out. Was that Hilary Swank is in this movie? That's crazy. So it's a 2020 movie. Then this one I had, but it was really beat up. It was like a used copy, so Splinter. Not seen this one. Hear great things about it, so why not? The Orphanage, which I have not watched in years, had the DVD. I remember it being pretty effective. And I always hear good reviews on it. They like it a lot more than I remember liking it, so I was like, I must have been a little off on that one, so... Then we have Paprika, which I've never seen, anime movie. Oh, from the director of Perfect Blue. So, yeah. Heard of that one, have that one. So, yeah. And then we have some DVDs. My Abnormal Beauty came in. This is a brand new copy. And this is going to, you guys are going to laugh at me because I ended up getting a second one where I had the slipcover. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just losing my mind. I think so. But that's done with these ones. I don't think I'll be buying any more of the Tartan Asia Extreme ones. I think I pretty much have all the ones I need. So anyways, we're going to hop back to the video. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, have a good one. Okay, bear with me. The sound's not going to be great because I don't have an external sound recorder on my camera. I just do that for the weekly videos. So somebody wanted a room tour. So I guess here we go. There's a mirror here. We'll hop in, open the door, keep the room shut and isolated all the time. Here's just kind of the look around real quick. That's one wall. That's the second back wall. And then we have the third wall over here going through. And then we have the fourth wall, which, is actually a shelf, not built in. And then we have the VHS closet here. And there's lots of double stacks in there, just overstock of stuff that I purchased on Blu-ray and DVD. And then there's some like typical non-cult movies in that area. And like these things, and then we have the two shelves in the middle, a lot of Kino and everything. I'll get in a little bit more depth here. So this is kind of the rundown. And you'll notice there's movies sitting in between the shelves here. Those are ones that I need to, watch for review eventually. These ones I just covered, I just was the update. So they're sitting there. This one I actually forgot to put away, so we'll do that right now. We'll go over to the Danger After Dark section. Right there. So, there we go. But anyways, we'll start up here, I guess. This is the new room tour, so those are all hard boxes. Then we have some Massacre Video VHSs, of course. I think it's almost all of them. They released that in the clamshells, at least. Some Vultura Video, just some oddity tapes, weird big tapes, re-releases, Sub Rosa. Then we have MVD Rewind and MVD Collections. Then we have some some Massacre Video. We have some Criterions up here. Then we get into Raro. And then we're in Artsploitation. These are all Blu-rays. These are kind of weird German imports, Blu-rays, and kind of weird ones that don't really fit. We have Possession up there. We have some big boxed ones that just don't really fit on the shelf anywhere. And then we have a lot of Shout Factory. It goes all the way to that top row is all Shout Factory. You see that bad boy up there? Friday the 13th just got up there. These ones sitting here, everybody's wondering on the side. It's like, oh, you can't display those? Those are all movies that I've got on Blu-ray. So they're basically just overstock I keep there. Just, you know, if I need to get something off a DVD from it. So then we continue the Shout Factory. I'm not going to stop on everything. There's a lot up there. Continuing. More Shout. We're starting to get into the double features. We're in some Shout IFC. Then we're just in regular IFC. Then we're in Dark Sky. Blu-rays. I keep the DVDs and Blu-rays separate, so. Then we have some Umbrella. We have some Troma, of course. Anchor Bay Blu-rays. And now here we start the DVDs on the shelf. We have Blue Underground DVDs. Synapse DVDs. Massacre Video DVDs. Sorry about the light there. Intervision. Severin. Come back over here. Finish up the Severin. My hand in the damn camera. It's going to be shaky, I'm sorry. Then we have some Shameless. Some Impulse pictures. The, what is that? That collection. The Nakatsu Erotica collection. Have some of those. And then we have, again, these two companies here were both Synapse companies. The Panic House and the Casa, what was the company called? Is it Casa Negra? But yeah, there's some of those in there. That Pinky Violence collection. Then we have some Raro DVDs. We have some Unearthed films. Lots of Unearthed. Then we have some Mia Communications, some 1-7. Then we have some Anchor Bays. A lot of those are, you know, down the line because I've upgraded. But I like to keep some of the genre labels myself on when I upgrade. I don't keep them all, but I keep some. It's more Anchor Bay. Get into some of the newer Anchor Bay titles. Then we have some, remember Shriek Show, guys? Gotta love Shriek Show. Some of these packs that have not all been upgraded yet. I've kind of boxed up the ones that have been upgraded. You know, like if I have them all on Blu-ray. I just recently got to put away my Zombie pack because I had Zombie 5 on Blu-ray now. Then we have, you know, some Tokyo Shock. Exploitation Digital, Guilty Pleasures, Rare Flicks. These are bootlegs, Toxic Filth, weird stuff. And these are more bootlegs. Kind of condoning. They're not in alphabetical order, although they should be. Then we have some Shout Factory DVDs. Continue that over here. God, this is going to be forever. Then we have some IFC titles. IFC After Dark, or IFC Midnight, sorry. We'll go in some regular IFC. We have some Dark Sky DVDs. Vinegar Syndrome DVDs. Scorpion releasing. We have some Code Red. Then we have some Cult Epics. TLA releasing. Danger After Dark. Some RLJ and Image stuff. And then we have, yeah, still some more Image, Shaw Brothers stuff. Then we have Camp Motion Pictures. Troma DVDs. Some MPI, or is it? Yeah, it's MPI. Then we have some of these Fortune Star DVDs, some Artsploitation DVDs that follow over here. Finish up the Artsploitation, the Mondo Macabro. Then we have Tartan Asia Extreme. Just Tartan. Then we have a couple of these, what is this? Lo-fi video. Some Criterion DVDs. And we have this Dark Frame. Dimension Extreme. Full Moon. Elite. Remember Elite, guys? We have Arrow. Who put out Gozu? I'm trying to think that. I don't know why that just stuck in my head. I wonder if I have that one. Maybe I don't have that one. Thought I did. I thought it would have been here, but that's Yuka's. Yeah, it's not the same movie. Oh well, I'll have to look. Then we have some Redemption, New Concord, Warner Archive, Subversive, Tempe, gotta love Tempe, James Bell stuff, Barrel, BCI, Shock, some Men Behind the Sun there. Then we have that weird label, I don't remember, EC Entertainment. We have some, I don't remember what this company was called either. Switchblades. A lot of strange kind of smaller Asian companies here. Discotech. What is that was called? I don't remember. Something Universe. I forget what it was called. Hansa. Then we, like I said, Arts Magic. Something Weird. Video Outlaw. Oh, that was a Shakorama. Cinema Epoch. I have a lot of those. Wild Eye. Midnight Releasing. Wellgo. Magnet. Sub Rosa. Still continuing Sub Rosa. VCI. Retro Media. Vicious Circle. Breaking Glass. August, this is Toe Tag stuff. Maggot stuff. Slasher Video. 4 packs. Now we're getting in alphabetical order. 8 Films to Die For stuff. After Dark. And then we start hitting just the regular ABCs. As you guys can tell, a lot of just typical stuff or stuff that just doesn't fit in any label. Continuing that on. Are we still? Yeah, we're here. Sorry, guys. Be a little quicker with this. Lots of weird titles popping up in there. Got to move my computer chair. I'll never do a shelf by shelf. I could never do that. Moods does those, man. It takes so long. I just could never imagine. The way my shelves are too, they're not, you know. Ghost House, remember them? Go down to this bottom line. Start with Ghoulies and all that kind of stuff. Going through the, sorry about that. Oh, killing me, guys. This is why it takes me forever to do these room tours. I'm never gonna get to watch all these movies. I'll die first, right? I'll hop to this shelf down here. I'm just gonna move this sucker for now. I'm gonna do these 2 shelves together because they're so low. But let's see what I got. It'll be quick. And then, if you guys can see, I'm not going to get probably in depth with a lot of these. This is the bottom row here. We end, and then we have just some VHS overstock, like just stuff that's not that important for me, like big boxes and everything. They're not like, they're beat up big boxes that I've had for like 20 years. You know what I mean? They've just been through hell, so. But we're going through the last of the DVDs. Gotta have Tales from the Crypt, right? Ah, man, making me crawl on the ground and everything. But yeah, if you see like the DVD, the old tape sitting down here, just stuff that's been upgraded, that kind of strange titles. There's a lot more like just behind the other shelves and everything like that. But, you know, kind of back here. Like I said, I guess I'll do the closet next. That's some cinema home video stuff, Tempe stuff. Like that, those up there I have extras. Kind of alphabetical order on tapes here. The ones sitting above are just overstock. Ugh. There's my Tascam right here, and then we just have some, you know, old DVDs and movies that I still need to, like, they're kind of sorted, just in smut genre, but a lot of the stuff I have upgraded and got on Blu-ray and stuff. So, guess we'll hit up the Arrow shelf. See that Herschel Gordon Lewis up there, the Camaro, which I've not talked about because I'm going to review that set, but just got to break it up. So we start with the Arrow, some import Arrow stuff, Arrow Academy imports. Then we start with the early stuff. I actually have these in chronological order of the the numbers of Arrow. That's a lot of Arrow movies. We have Arrow Academy now. Then we have Vinegar Syndrome. Vinegar Syndrome Archive, some exploitation ones, TV they had, and we're in Severin. Gonna hop into some Code Red. And I think here's Code Red, and then we start getting into the Scorpion releasing. And we're going to go over to the first shelf here. These are, I want to replace these eventually. We have some 4K from Blue Underground. Got a bunch of Blue Underground stuff. Full Moon, 88 Films, Slasher Collection, Kino Lorber. Love Kino because when they have their sales, you just stock up. $6 to like $12, can't go wrong. And I do like the plain black cases. I'm not gonna lie, it's easy. Then we have the Mario Bava Redemption titles. Then we have Jess Franco stuff. Jean Roland. Pete Walker. Ellen Robbe-Groulet, I believe is his name. Then we have some more Redemption. Just some more Kino titles. Kino International, Kino Classic stuff. Then we have the Kino, like when they were Scorpion, Kino Scorpion line here. Then we have some Dark Force. And we're going the other side. We have some Magnet Blu-rays. Altered Innocence, Disney, Dread, Epic Pictures, Shriek Show, Tokyo Shock, Synapse, and all the steel books there. New label here. And then we have the Vestrons, BCI, Cult Epics, Twilight Time, Real Gore, Indicator, Garage House, SRS, Mondo Macabro, Alamo Draft House, Grindhouse, Doppelganger, Monster Pictures, Eureka. Some independent labels, you know, Brian Papandrea and Nathan Rumler's label. Some Warner Archive. Then we have some New Line Cinema, some those triple packs from Warner Brothers and New Line. More Warner. That bottom shelf there. We're in Paramount now. I don't know why I did the major labels here. This is another camera. We get up. We're going to hit the other shelf. This will be the last thing I show. Got some Mill Creek. Getting to Universal next. '20th Century Fox. My knees are popping. Columbia. Lionsgate. Sony. What's this label? Image. RLJ and Image. Magnolia. MGM. Strand. There's a couple of those. EGFA. Shameless on Blu-ray. Retro Media. Camp Motion Pictures. I don't remember what that label's called. There's a couple of those. And then we just have the rest in After Wild Eye. We have the rest in alphabetical order. For a while, I think. Is that big Heart Independent Cinema set. And then the last shelf. Finally, right? Finishing off that alphabetical order. Now we have some 4K. Dragon Dynasty. What is that company? I can't remember. Film Movement. Some On Earth Blu-rays. Olive. Still and Olive. Some independent labels. Then we have Tempe. This company, this weird company, Golden Dragon or something like that. Then we have some Dustin Mills Blu-rays. We have some Scott Shermer Company Blu-rays. Some other independent labels and things like that. All sorts of things like that. Geez, I can't remember. Gator Blade and all them. Scream Team. There's some other kind of offshoot independent labels here. Indie Blu-ray releases, stuff like that. We have some imports. Now we have import Blu-rays. BFI. Studio Canal. German label there. Australian label there. Canadian label, more British stuff. Second Sight right there. Japanese stuff. This one's pretty cool. I just got this one a while ago. Spooky Encounters, need to put it in there. Spanish stuff. German stuff. And then just other off-label Blu-rays, other countries and everything like that, Canadian. Then we got some bootlegs over here, Capote, The Devils, you know, stuff like that. They're just boots, original Star Wars movies. And then Unfriended is just another. These are some slips that I picked up recently to add on. So that's pretty much the room, guys. I know it was sloppy and everything, but a lot of stuff in here. Time to turn the dehumidifier back on and get the hell out of here.